Welcome back to Matter of Fact. More than 3,500 veterans have received the Medal of Honor. Each has a remarkable story of bravery. Every recipient is bestowed with a lifetime of benefits. Yet for some, it's been a case of honor delayed. There are some heroes who were denied the medal for decades because of their race or ethnicity or religion. Consider the story of Staff Sergeant Melvin Morris, who enlisted in the Army at age 17 and served 2 tours in Vietnam as a Green Beret. What year were you given this?
That was in October of '61. When President Kennedy authorized the Green Beret, we had a ceremony, and we already had these tucked away. And once he authorized, you know, we got rid of the hard hat, put on our Green Berets, and the battle was on.
Chi Long, South Vietnam, September 17, 1969. Staff Sergeant Morris was leading one of 3 groups of South Vietnamese fighters into a little-known hamlet near Chi Long. They were supposed to inspect, then clear the area.
And so we moved on in, out of the village into the tree line. And time they got into the tree line, the whole world opened up.
Hundreds of people firing thousands of rounds.
Captain Tommy Daniels and Team Sergeant Ronald Hagen were ambushed by Viet Cong who'd been hiding in bunkers.
I got a call telling me that the team sergeant was dead. And I asked Morris, "Do you know where Hagen is?" And he said, "Yes, I do. I'll lead us in there."
Morris took 2 volunteers and crossed enemy lines to get Sergeant Hagen's body. Pushed back by a barrage of enemy fire, he was shot.
I had to get to the body. So I said I was going in.
What Morris did next is not just a heroic war story. It was a moment of valor defined. Morris single-handedly destroyed the enemy force that had his battalion pinned down. In the fog of gunfire, he'd been shot 2 more times. He didn't stop.
You take every effort you can to recover this body. You don't surrender the body to no one. It's just, you're doing what you gotta do. That's it.
Is that your motto?
That is my motto. Do what you gotta do.
What he did was make sure the body of Sergeant First Class Ronald Hagen got home to his wife and 4 children in Milwaukee. Morris's wounds were painful. His fingers had to be reattached. The brothers who fought with Morris that day returned to fighting. They feared they might not survive the war, so they hurried to get recognition for Morris's heroism.
The actions that Morris took were truly remarkable, and there was little doubt in my mind that they needed to be recognized with a very serious Valor Award.
Recommendations for Valor Awards come from commanders in the field. The Medal of Honor requires eyewitness accounts, and approval goes all the way up to the president. So why not the Medal of Honor?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that. You know, when I first come in 1959, the Army was supposed to be integrated, but it was still integrated but segregated. I always felt that sometimes they look down on you that you're not as good a soldier as they are.
Do you think that kind of stuff played a role in being overlooked for the highest possible honor?
Yeah, you got people that still think that way.
Did that bias deny Staff Sergeant Morris a medal that could have transformed his life?
If I was awarded Medal of Honor back in '69, it would have made a big difference.
Staff Sergeant Morris served in Vietnam. the first war where troop units were fully integrated. If he had been awarded the Medal of Honor when he was first recognized for valor, it could have changed his life. His two sons, who pursued military careers, would have been admitted to the U.S. Military Academy. He would have received monthly stipends and extra retirement money that could have helped him fund his daughter's education. And his career would have been fast-tracked because of the prestige of the medal. Morris is one of 89 African Americans who's received the Medal of Honor.